Good afternoon, Rabbi and Rebbetzin Teil, Donick family, distinguished guests, friends, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. They tell a story about a Jewish immigrant from Poland who came to the United States of America to become a citizen of the country. The problem was he was a Hasidic Jew from Poland. He did not know English. How can you become a citizen of a country if you don't know its language, if you don't know its history, if you don't appreciate its culture? So he tells his friend, "Was tut man, what do I do? How can I pass the interview to become a citizen?" I'm competing with my translators. So his friend says, "I will set you up with a clerk who's been asking the same 5 questions for 50 years. You don't have to understand English. You just have to memorize 5 responses and you'll pass." What are his questions? His first question is always, "What is your name?" The moment you hear the first question, you don't have to understand. You just say, "Moshe Weiss." That was his name. Second question is, "How many children do you have?" You will say, 5. Third question is, "How many states are there in the United States?" You will say 50. Fourth question, "Who was the first president of the U.S.?" You'll say George Washington. His fifth question is, "Do you have parents?" You'll say, "Thank God, both." For 3 weeks, he's memorizing the 5 responses to the 5 questions. Verbatim. Wort and wort. Comes into the great day, walks into the interview, the clerk says, "I have a few questions." Sure. Question number 1. What was the name of the first president of the United States of America? Without skipping a heart's beat, umklappen the Herzen, Moshe Weiss. Tell me, how many states, wie viele Staaten are there in the U.S.? 5. How many children do you have? 50. The man looks at him. He has a streimel, Hasidic hat, a long black coat, long payas, big beard. He says, "Tell me, what is your name?" George Washington. The man behind the desk was an alte Yid, an alte Jude. He understood what is happening. See, he says, "Zog mich, tell me, wer is Meshuggah? Who is Meshuggah? You or me?" He says, "Thank God, both." The moral, my dear friends, of the anecdote is this: you can memorize lines and you can master techniques, but if you do not possess an inner understanding of a subject, at some point you're going to get stuck. At some point, it's not going to work. They once asked a Jew, "What is the difference between ignorance and apathy?" He said, "I don't know and I don't care." Ignorance breeds apathy. Knowledge, wisdom breeds inspiration. What then is the mystery of this ancient Jewish custom, ritual, mitzvah, commandment, dating back 3,000, 320 years. Initiated here today, called mikveh. Why? For what? For whom? Why would intelligent people, and Jews were always accused of being intelligent people, whether it's true or not, weiß ich nicht. But they have been excused, especially German Jury, seien doch die Hauptintellektualen von der jüdischen Welt. German Jury always prided itself, and for good reason, in representing and embodying the great mind and sophistication of the Jewish world. Why did this intelligent people embrace for thousands of years, in the best of times and in the worst of times, this ritual called mikveh? Especially now, there are showers in each home. There are baths in each home. Some have jacuzzis in their home. If the mikveh was just about cleanliness, as some people mistakenly have perceived, what's the point? A public place for people to cleanse themselves? All types of taboos, stereotypes have been associated with the mikveh, which ought to be misspelled in order to give it justice. Why in the mountain of Masada, we saw in the video, when a small number of Jews were fighting off the Roman Empire which dominated the world, and they lived there for 2 years, they made sure to build mikvahs on the Masada Mountain. And in the Warsaw Ghetto, they made sure to use the mikveh. What's the secret of the mikveh? What's the reason for the mikveh? In Jewish law, a community is obligated to sell a synagogue and to sell the Torah scrolls in the synagogue in order to build a mikveh. A mikveh comes before a temple, before a shul, before a Torah, the holiest item in Judaism, and a mikveh is yet holier. Why? What's the reason behind this? Not just memorizing the words like Moshe Weiss, but understanding the concept. My dear friends, you know, relationships, marriages, in modern times are going through a major crisis. I'm not sure of the statistics in Germany, but I do know the statistics in the city, which I left last night to come here this morning, New York, where first marriages, 50% of first marriages end up in divorce, and 60% of second marriages. The numbers are staggering. I met a couple the other day, and I asked him, I say, Stephen, how is your marriage? He says, I'll tell you, Rabbi Jacobson, when we got engaged, I did all of the talking and she did all of the listening. We got married, she began doing all of the talking and I began doing all of the listening. Now, 10 years later, we both do all of the talking and the neighbors do all of the listening.